Science Fair by Claude Schiffer Jr., January 4th, 2017. Which bag of brand of chips contain more air and less chips? Step 1. Problem or question. I am curious to find out which bag brand of chips has more air and less chips inside. For this experiment, I'll be using a measuring tape to find out how big the bags are before and after opening them. This will prove how much air is inside. With this information, I can find out which brand is cheaper and better to buy by using potato chips from different kinds of brands, like Wise, Utz, and Lay's. So we could test out this experiment and see if I'm right. Step 2. Research. Mentalfloss.com. One thing I've learned was that the potato chips bag air is actually nitrogen, so they can become more crispy and fresh before they are unsealed. Another thing I've learned was that the potato chip brands like Lay's are unhealthy for you because it contains a lot of fat and a lot of sodium. Is it bad for you.com? Another fact is the potato chips uses air because when it's in the back of the truck being delivered, the air prevents the potato chips from turning into crumbs on the truck. SeriousSeats.com. Last thing I've learned was that the potato chip that would be best for people to buy is Lay's. The reason why Lay's is the winner because the chip is more crispy and just the right thickness for the bag. But for Wise, it comes in third place because of its thinness and it dissolves in your mouth, which it looks like people does not like. Step 3. Hypothesis. What I think will happen from my experiment is the bag of Lay's chips will include more air than the other brands of potato chips. The reason why I say this is because the bag of Lay's potato chips looks way bigger than the rest of the potato chips because of the air that is inside of it. Also, when I weighed Lay's, Utz, and Wise, the bag that weighed more was Lay's. I felt this is another reason why the bag of Lay's is the one that contains more air inside of it. I feel that the Wise bag will have the most chips because it contains the least amount of air. Step 4A. Experiment. For my experiment, I'm going to be testing out 3 family size chip bags to see which one contains more air and which bag contains less chips. I hope to prove that the Lay's bag will contain more air if I said because I weighed the Lay's bag and Wise at home with a digital scale, but the Lay's bag weighed more with air inside of it. But the Wise, on the other hand, has less air inside, so I'm guessing that the Lay's bag will be the winner. Step 4B. Experiment. The step for this experiment. Step 1. Make sure you have a paper and pencil to record your data. Step 2. Buy 3 family-sized chip bags of different brands like Lay's, Wise, and Utz. Step 3. Buy or ask your family or family or relative for a digital scale. Step 4. Place each family-sized chip bag one by one on the digital scale to see which one weighs more. This should tell you which bag is going to have more chips. Step 5. Press down on the bag to push out the air. Try to avoid crushing any of the chips inside. Step 6. After you do all of that, use measuring tape on the 3 chip bags one by one to see which one contains more air. Step 7. Weigh each bag a second time to see if anything changes. Step 8. Record your data to learn which one had the most air inside. Step 4 is the experiment. Paper and pencil, 3 different kinds of chip brands, Lay's, Utz, and Wise, a digital scale, and a measuring tape. Step 5. Analysis. For my experiment, the bag of Lay's contained more air and the bag of Wise contained less chips. In my experiment, as you see the picture on the left corner, the bag of Lay's weighed 10.4, while the bag of Wise weighed 9.4, which means that the Lay's was more heavier. What I learned from my experiment was that the Wise chips were a bit more heavier. The reason why I say this is because when I weighed both of them, I predicted that the Wise would probably weigh about 5.0 or 5.5, but it actually turned out to be 9.1, which was a pretty impressive weight for the Wise. Conclusion. In my conclusion, my hypothesis was correct. I was correct because the bag of Lay's contained more chips and the bag of Wise contained less chips. I determined my answer by literally weighing both chips to see which one contained less chips and also measuring both bags to see which one contained more air. If I wanted to ever try to use this experiment again in the future, what I would make you guys probably improve is trying out different brand of family size bag and testing out them from there. I might change my hypothesis or prove in my experiment that I was right in figuring out which family sized bag of chip contained less air and more chips. Thanks for checking out my slide.